Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kinney.
And we just got through beating the daylights out of radon.
That's right.
And now we're going to talk about the Oxford Village DDA. That was a really, really short meeting.
DDA, Downtown Development Authority.
Yes. And the DDA has come quite a ways in the last year. They've got all new membership on there now, except for I think there's one person or two people that are still on there. Bill Dunn was the chairperson back then, and he does a great job too on the DDA in controlling the meeting. But
how is their funding?
their funding is coming along. They've got state money, more state money coming pretty soon. That's going to shear them up somewhat. They have some expenses that they still have to pay yet. I believe that they're being charged for additional police services and that kind of thing, you know, through the Oxford Village. And personally, and it's my opinion, not that of the rest of the council, maybe, and maybe it is, that they need to either reduce that considerably or do away with it considerably.
Do away with?
Extracting that money from the DDA fund.
Oh, okay.
That their downtown people will have police service regardless. They'll have fire service regardless. And, you know, why would they pay any more, you know, than what the village would allocate?
But outside of
is the
any
question.
state funds that may be coming in, has the funds resulting from local taxes improved in the last year or two?
No, but the expenditures have decreased a lot, which helps them a whole lot. The council has really kept eye on that, and the new commission
We're still
has
poor,
kept an
but
eye
we
on
don't
it.
have as many bills.
Exactly. I'm trying to think. The Lone Ranger rides hard on that expense thing, you know, Rod. So anyway, yeah, they've got good control of their financial situation now. They have no money, which is easy to do. But they do have money coming in. At some point, they're going to very prudently spend some of that money to make things happen.
When they get a surplus.
For the businesses and for the activities
Right.
that go on downtown.
Right.
They are looking for volunteers, by the way.
They are.
Yeah, for the downtown things that they have going, all the
Celebrate
events.
Oxford. Is it Celebrate Oxford under DDA anymore, or is it something different?
Celebrate Oxford actually isn't Celebrate Oxford, it's Celebrate the Lone Ranger now, I guess.
Well,
days.
okay.
So it's
forgot
kind of
about that.
shifted, and that horse is riding in town right now.
I-O.
Yeah, and it seems to be a pretty popular thing too. So, and they're going to extend that even further, from what I understand. And by the way, that committee is looking for people
Wonderful.
in your free time.
Got a horse?
Got oats. You got the horse, I got the oats. Anyhow, so DDA was a short-lived meeting, didn't last very long. They talked about financials and a few things along that line, and it was done. Now the next thing that came up was a special joint meeting. That one took a while.
That was the triple special joint meeting.
It was, because the Village ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals, was there. Joe Bullen is the chairperson for that. Really, a gentleman, very knowledgeable.
I thought you were going to say and a scholar.
No, well, he's a scholar too, actually, but he knows a lot about this village. I think the village kind of built up around him. He was instrumental, you know, in Centennial Park and that kind of thing. And he was the president at one time.
What was his first name?
Joel.
Not Jeff?
No, not Jeff. This is Joe Bullen.
Oh, okay.
You know who you're thinking of.
Yeah. The guy,
Jeff Bullen is the owner.
proprietor of Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons, yep,
Right.
and his
I
wife
just-
Joanne.
I just thought we were, Okay.
This guy knows everybody. Gee. Yeah, you invite them all over for Christmas, do you?
Yeah. Well,
Easter?
No one ever shows up.
Oh, well. Could be the
Can't afford the stamps.
rock donuts that you make. I don't know. Anyway, actually, he has a lot of friends. I'm just kidding. He knows everybody. You sing at a church too, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, he has a pretty good voice. If you listen, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and he more likely will get him to sing. What is that song you sing?
Oh, Danny boy.
Yeah, he does a great job. So it'll be on the air. I think we can probably squirm it in there somehow.
You had to do that.
I did have to do that. So the joint meeting consisted of the ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals, DDA, which Bill Dunn is the chairperson there, and all of their members, the Village Council.
Did they all crowd around the dais or what?
We used the conference room at the administrative building,
okay.
and it was full of people. And then the Planning Commission, you know, Village Planning Commission was also there. So,
So what were the hot topics?
there was a lot of hot topics, discussions that we had as we went along. And one of the things that they discussed, of course, was the complete streets study, which was done a while ago. I believe the information on that was accumulated and put together somewhere by a consultant, somewhere around $50,000 to do that.
Well, now that has to interface with this proposed change that MDOT is coming through with.
Right. And the thing is, the whole objective is to take a lot of these issues that we've been dealing with and kind of get feedback as to how to fine tune it. Certainly they don't want to spend $4 million for streetscape, so that's going to, I'm sure, change.
Is that roughly what Lake Orion ended up spending?
Yes. But they had a whole lot of money, more than us. I said had.
They had a whole lot of bricks too.
I said had before they spin it, you know. Yeah, a lot of bricks are everywhere. But anyway, the complete plan is out there and available for you, the public, to be able to view, you know, at the administrative office and at the village, and could get a copy of it if you want. But there's other things too that are coming down the line. There's a downtown vision plan that, you know, exactly what is going to happen with the street, is how many parking spots is there going to be, are they going to use shrubbery, are they going to define the highway by putting a petition or a median down the middle. All of those were under discussion.
Is that different than complete streets?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things. With that, you're dealing with trees and bushes and
you're still
access.
you're still dealing with MDOT.
Yes. Yes, you are. You're still dealing with MDOT. Anything to do with that highway, because M24, of course, is a Michigan State highway.
So what's the magic number now for the year that MDOT is coming through?
Well, it's still up for conjecture yet. They're looking at, you know, like 2016, 2017, somewhere around that neighborhood.
Seems fuzzy.
It is fuzzy, but they're going to need the time in order to put this together and
They've
in
been
a
talking
sensible
about this
manner.
for years.
They have. And one thing that came up too is the street, the back alley, the East Alley project. And that's where they're going to, you know, circumvent from 24 around the back portion of, Oxford Village.
So is that going to be considered an end run when the traffic backs up?
Traffic isn't going to back up if this thing works well, because they're going to have lights at various locations.
More lights?
Oh yeah, more lights. They're going to slow the traffic in certain areas and channel traffic in other areas.
Back it up into Lake Orion.
Yeah, you can understand why there's so much involved with this, you know? Just imagine how much, that they have to do to make this thing work smooth. And there's
sure.
other subjects. School bus situation. They're backed up for miles. People can't make any progress through the village or around the village, all because of the school bus traffic.
Make them walk.
No, we're going to find another access for them to be able to, ingress or egress, from,
Okay, well,
from that area.
Those are all important issues, and I hope they come up with a good solution. And I know that, the business people have always rebelled at any idea of bypassing the downtown area.
That's right. So anyway, I think that's only a part of what we talked about. There's snow and ice and all that kind of thing. What do you do with all this snow and ice? As you know, I told them just pick it up, take it over to your house.
Well, we had a surplus
don't do
this
that.
year, so we can sell it.
Yeah, snow cones, snow cones.
There must be other areas of the United States that desperately need our snow.
You're right, it could be. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we were just going through the joint meeting that we had between the ZBA, the Village Council, and the Planning Commission.
And the DDA.
And the DDA. And you think we're making any progress here?
They all showed up. What a party.
They did. They did. And I'll tell you what, they all had ideas on how this thing could go. And there's more to come in the future, because there's going to be additional meetings with these joint organizations. It's a must, because everybody brings to the table their own thinking and the way they should go, and somewheres between all this smog, there's a solution. And so that's what they want to do, and they want to expedite it as quickly as possible and get on the same track. They have a situation with parking management for downtown. And one of the things that came up was employees. Where are they going to park their cars? They really don't want to walk, 15 miles to work by parking way out. So they end up taking parking spots that normally might be
These
used
are
by
employees
customers,
of
businesses.
regular businesses.
downtown.
Okay. Okay.
And it's always been a problem, but one of the thoughts came up is, well, what about a shuttle? What about a shuttle? Where we could shuttle the employees in from a parking area that might be
I got an idea.
facilitated.
A people mover.
A people mover.
We could spend a-
How do you do that in the winter? You talking about a
question.
crane that comes in and
Oh,
moves them
no.
over? Or?
They have a really successful one down in Detroit. They only lose, I don't know, so many millions of dollars a year.
Oh, I didn't know they lost so many people a year.
Oh, no.
Let me see. Here comes a people
that
mover.
wouldn't
I'm
do.
a mugger. Great.
wouldn't do.
Line them up. I'll take one at a time.
Or maybe like, what was it, Minneapolis that has all these gerbil tubes going between buildings.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, if you would vacuum on that baby, you can move them along pretty fast, right? Okay. And I don't think our technical end of it here is ever going to work for this group because these people are too
Resistant to
common-sense.
change.
Yeah, they are. Maybe that's what I was looking for. Resistant to change. Well, you will want to come to the next meeting possible. I believe it's an open meeting, so you can come.
Are they all going to show up again?
They will, pretty much.
All
There was a
right.
couple that didn't show up, but
All
most of them all showed up. And it is an open meeting. I know that we did record it here.
Oh.
And so it's going to be televised.
And you'll also be able to see it on our PEG Central on OCCTV.org. Go to PEG.
Yeah, you hit PEG and bingo, there you got it. Or you can go to YouTube, right? Is it on YouTube too?
I'm not so sure about exactly what goes up to
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, but PEG Central is 100% all political meetings.
Well, what are the channels they can pick off from Charter?
From Charter, it's if you're out in Addison Township in some areas, it becomes Channel 19. In other areas, it's Channel 97. Oxford Township is all Channel 97. If you have AT&T Uverse, then you go to Channel 99, and you'll see a menu of municipalities, and you get 4 shots at looking at Oxford television.
All right, you're trying to
if you-
scare
if-
them.
If you go to Oxford, Village of Leonard, Addison Township, Oxford Township, you'll see the same show.
You'll end up in Brazil if you're not careful, if you
that's
follow his directions.
But
Anyhow,
no matter where you are in Southeast Michigan, if you have AT&T Uverse, you can see Oxford television.
yeah, that's true. Can they tune us in?
Absolutely, they can tune us out, actually.
They might want to do that, I'm not sure. But anyway, so this meeting went on, and we covered a lot of very important issues. One thing that came up is that the possibility of getting a part-time DDA director rather than a full-time
Okay.
director to
I
work
think-
with all the various activities and benefits and
And
things that we're
currently, they
running.
don't have one, but Joe Young is filling that spot right now.
Joe's acting in that spot, and Joe doesn't have anything to do.
No. His cup is overloaded, I'll tell you. His
Right.
cup runneth over.
Well, this thing is on the move now, and it's the consensus, I think, of most people in these commissions and organizational groups that want to make sure that it continues to move in an orderly fashion,
Right.
and develop. So, pretty
But
important.
but you do need some continuous organizational person there, whether it's part-time or full-time.
Right. So these are just a few of the many issues, this group has to be confronted with.
Right.
And, they are looking for volunteers also, as I say, for these various things that they put on in the summertime. The Lone
Sure.
Ranger event is one of them. And their meetings right now are commencing right now. And you can get the information from the administrative building in Oxford Village.
Right.
And so if you're interested in providing some creative input, contact the village. What do you got going here?
Well, there's not a lot going on, but the most important one, on 127, the Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission,
Yes.
our parent,
Are you going to be
is
here?
having, I'll be here, believe me.
Okay.
This time, though, it's not going to be at 6:30, the regular time, it'll be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And on the 2nd of, or the 3rd of January, or February, at 7:30, the Addison Township Parks and Rec Committee, and also at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford ZVA. But check on that one, because sometimes they don't meet. And on February 4th, at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Planning Commission. And that's all I've got.
Oh, that's it. Okay, I want to say one more thing here, that we are looking for sponsors and underwriters
Underwriters.
Underwriters, for Oxford Community Television. And
Right.
so you, if you're a business person or somebody who wants to support the school activities, basketball, football, those kind of things, we can handle it here. It's very inexpensive to do.
Right. And
Yeah.
And if you do support us, we have a beautiful document that you can put in your window saying that you are a supporter of Oxford Community Television.
And a free snow cone and a kitten.
Hey, wait a minute.
I think an employee has a kitten. Oh, it's a dog they're trying to get. If you need a dog. Okay. Anyway, that being said, we'll catch you next time on Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Take care. Welcome. This is Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're going to tell you, or at least try to explain, what the ordinances and new legislation that's going on with the village councils and all the various legislators that we have surrounding us here.
The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings.
I hope the folks understood that bit. I'm glad it's over with. Okay. Anyway, oh boy, the words of wisdom. Anyway, what we have
That was Alice in Wonderland, by the way.
Was that what it is? That figures. Okay. I don't want to go there. Anyway, let's hit on for what we have going on here in these various meetings then. One thing I would like to make very clear is that 100% of what we say here is true.
More or less.
Maybe a little more less than more. But anyway, the facts are there somewhere.
Well, it's all in the eye of the beholder, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Actually, one thing that I mentioned in the last session that we had last week was that property that Raven Engineering was interested in was 99 Glaspie Street. Now, you people might have caught that out there. It's 98. But the folks that own 99, their property is sold and gone. So I don't know what happened there, but gave the wrong address. My fault.
Any case, I did read CJ's little editorial, and this guy, Elgin Nichols, got a lot of play in that editorial.
Yeah, probably did. That actually, we'll discuss that a little bit further down the line here, because one of the things that we're going to talk about is a joint meeting that we had between the ZBA, the DDA, and the council, village council.
A triple joint meeting.
A triple joint meeting. And
Whoa.
it was quite lengthy. They covered a lot of territory
Must
during
have
that
been like
meeting.
herding cats.
But before we get there, yeah, let's talk about the Oxford Village Council.
All right.
It was short.
It was short. Was it short? But you had a huge agenda.
Right. It was short, but not so sweet. No, not a huge one for that one.
Oh, you need a spoonful of sugar. then.
Originally, we were going to have a closed session. Okay, that's why we all got together. Closed session right at the beginning to discuss the 911 issue with the township. Township wanted to withdraw from the contract, and the contract was in front of the council members for approval. But before that approval would be made, a closed session was set up, to discuss it. Well, the council felt that there was enough discussion already about this subject, and that they were pretty well set in the direction that should be taken, which was to sign off, let the township head in their own direction at this point. So they made a motion that we not go into closed session. So that shortened that meeting considerably.
Okay. Which leaves the Oxford Dispatch only doing what?
Well,
Police.
Yeah, they're going to have to make right. The village is going to handle police for the township, or not the township, but the village of Lake Orion, and for Oxford Village.
Okay.
And that's all they're going to do. The fire and dispatch is now going to go probably more likely to Oakland County, the police.
And as
through the township.
say a 911 call comes in, it may come into the village of Oxford, but they will forward that to the county.
Yes, if it comes into the village, it'll be transferred. And they do that now, you know, the county actually does cover backup, you know, for the local dispatch system. So anyway.
I know that was a bone you loved to pick before, but I guess it's settled now.
I didn't pick it, but it beat me to death in the past weeks. So anyway, I'm still involved in it to some degree.
All right.
There was a gentleman, a local gentleman, his name is, and still is a gentleman, his name is Gary Such, S-Z-U-C-H, I believe is how it's spelled.
Okay.
He brought up an interesting issue before the council, and that is he did a testing of the property that he's renting and discovered that there's a high level of radon. Now, you know what radon is?
Yeah, I live in Brandon Township, and
Lots of radon there.
They actually did have radon, but there was arsenic, I believe, too. But in any case,
In the water.
that's a dangerous thing, and it usually collects in your basement.
Yep. And to explain what it is, actually is composition of the soil and rock that's below your house that's built on that contains uranium or radium.
Right,
And
it's
it produces a gas.
right, which somehow migrates through the walls of your basement
Right.
and creates some dangerous levels if that's the case.
Well, you
Where
can't
they
smell
would
it, can't see it, and a lot of other things.
There are radon detectors, aren't there?
There are. You can get a radon detector, as a matter of fact, at half price right now. They're usually $10 through the Oakland County.
Must have had a low radon season.
Yeah, they got extra. They got a lot of these machines sitting around that they need to move. You know, so $5 a piece. The interesting thing is that this gentleman brought forth is that the state has no regulations or ordinances controlling radon.
Really?
It really doesn't, except when
Is it a federal regulation?
no, federally they don't do anything about it either.
Yet everyone knows that it's dangerous.
Right.
Wow.
Well, let me step back because you jumped right in there too fast, little jump fast
I'm
person.
sorry. Go ahead, Dad.
Okay. Anyway, if you're selling a property though, a home, then through disclosure, it's one of the requirements the state has, that you disclose any problems that you have, you know, with your home. So if you're selling the home,
But since
yes.
there's no requirement, it's not a problem.
Well, if you don't know about it, right, if you don't know about it, and
No, okay.
if you talk to somebody next door, a neighbor, for example, and you said, hey, I got a bad radon problem here, and I'm going to sell my house, don't tell anybody. That might come back to bite them in the, you know,
Does this stuff glow?
the knee.
Like radium or something?
No, you can't detect it, other than through the special detector that you have to
Okay,
purchase.
all right.
Okay, but there is no regulations requiring any renter or rental building to take care of a radon problem. No requirements of the landlord.
So why haven't governmental units jumped in and created some kind of a reg
Well,
that would protect people?
because, first of all, there's some question of contention if radon really, in every instance, is dangerous. It depends on the amount of radon there is. So in most cases in Michigan, and by the way, one house out of every, I think, 15 homes has a radon level of some type in Michigan.
But there's acceptable levels and not acceptable levels.
That's true. There are ways, however, that
So who set those levels?
they're established by the National Health Association.
And
Department.
somehow that hasn't migrated itself into any codes?
Well, it's there as far as levels that are acceptable. I think it's 2 parts something or other.
Okay.
That's acceptable.
All right.
Up to 4 parts or whatever. Beyond that, and this guy's, by the way, was tested about 18, I think, so it was quite high.
Could probably sell this stuff.
I don't think they sell it. But you can fix the problem if you think there might be one through the cracks and so forth that you have in the basement by sealing those cracks, you know, closing all those areas you can.
Or
If
does it require an excavation of the basement and then a ceiling applied to the outside? Or
No,
is it inside?
you can do it inside.
Okay.
You know, put caulking in what's required. Unfortunately, in an older basement, you're never going to cover it completely because there's, you know,
All kinds of fissures and stuff.
right, where pipes go and that kind of thing.
Yep.
It can actually come up through your drain system too. Now, we pretty much beat radon to death here.
Sounds like it's radioactive gas guerrilla warfare.
It is.
It's coming up through the
And-
drains.
And keep in mind, you don't have to run out and buy a radon gas mask or anything along that line. It should be
Okay.
just fine.
All right.
But it is an issue that they're trying to promote. The biggest problem that they would have in having legislation is that it would take specially trained and equip people to test. And right now, the village has no way of doing it other than these test kits they provide through Oakland County.
But it would be something that could occur if a house was put up for sale. That might be a requirement.
Well, that's not going to happen, I don't think, either. Anyway, we've gone past that one. We'll be back in just a minute, right after this. Yeah, that's the way it works, bud. You don't get any legislation.
President Roosevelt signed the Bill of Rights.
I've always appreciated the American Legion's
My gratitude to the American
Thank
Legion.
you all of the American Legion.
We have millions of veterans that are members of our organization. Thank you.
The American Legion, we serve America and its veterans. We pledge ourselves to our veterans, our youth, a strong national defense, and Americanism. These 4 pillars shape our work and what we do for America. There is power in our numbers. We're the largest organization of wartime veterans in the nation. We are 2.5 million members strong, men and women from every state in the nation and around the world. No other veterans organization wields this kind of power. We work relentlessly within our 4 pillars of service, and we succeed. The American Legion takes care of our fellow veterans and their families. We maintain close ties with Congress and the leaders in Washington, D.C. They respect us. They listen to us. We sponsor research and press for medical care and benefits for all veterans and active duty service members, whether they are members of the American Legion or not.
President Roosevelt signs G.I. Joe's Bill of Rights.
You've heard of the GI Bill of Rights, one of the most important pieces of social legislation of the 20th century. It was written and passed largely through the efforts of the American Legion. We were instrumental in the formation of what is now the Department of Veterans Affairs to make sure our veterans get the care and benefits they are promised and deserve. The young people of our nation are our future. They benefit from exceptional programs and generous scholarships that only the American Legion offers. We provide athletic programs like American Legion Junior Shooting Sports, Legion Baseball, and educational and civics programs like the Oratorical Scholarship Contest and Boys State and Boys Nation.
As Supreme Court Justice Hugo Black stated, the quality of justice that Americans receive should not depend upon the amount of money they have.
We promote citizenship and an appreciation of government. We have all been directly involved in our nation's defense as wartime veterans. We know what policies, tools, and manpower our military needs to protect this great country. We fight to get these things done.
We are all very grateful to have the American Legion on point.
We take our case all the way to the top in Washington, D.C. to ensure that America is prepared for any threat. We are patriots through and through. We believe in our flag and all that it stands for. Our Constitution, our Pledge of Allegiance, our way of life are all fundamental to maintaining our freedom and the standing that we have as the greatest country on earth. We promote and defend these values every day in communities across the nation. These pillars represent not just what we do, but who we are. We're here to serve our fellow veterans, their families, and all of America. We are here for them. We are here for you. The American Legion asks you to join us in our mission. If you share our vision and commitment to America, visit our website at legion.org or your nearest American Legion post today.
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford, Addison Township, and the village of Leonard.